Hello, and welcome to a special episode of The Back Office. My name is Danette Dillon, and I'm here actually getting the opportunity to interview Dalayna Dillon, who obviously usually is doing the interviews for The Back Office, but today we're flipping the script.
Very strange feeling.
Yeah, we're flipping the script though, and rather than her asking the questions about growth and marketing and leadership and decisions that had to be made, they're getting asked of her. So sit back, relax, and
This is a special 5-year anniversary episode.
oh yes, 5-year anniversary. This month marks 5 years that Signify Marketing has been in business, and so this has felt like a special and pertinent way to celebrate that milestone marking. Dalayna,
Yes.
take us back. Tell us a little bit about the beginning of Signify Marketing. What was it like at the beginning? And why did you decide to start Signify?
Oh, goodness. Well, I will admit, I'm one of those who never wanted to go out on my own. And the reason was not because I didn't think that I didn't believe in my skill set or ability to figure it out. Because as is a highlight on the Back Office podcast, nobody starts when they have it figured out.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
that's what keeps us from starting is
Right.
the idea that we have to have it all figured out before we launch, and nobody does that. First of all, the misconception is that that's how nobody does that. Literally nobody does it.
Yeah.
Everyone's figuring it out in every stage that they're in. So I was doing marketing internally at a business, and I still to this day, I look back on some of those opportunities that I had there, and they're some of my favorite because I got to go through a lot of different stages with that business. A new ownership handoff, like the company got purchased, and I was there before and thereafter, transitioning that over, rebranding, like not just a little rebranding, like not a
rebranding,
refresh, a
right.
complete rebrand. That was a very now that I've gone through it, I'm like, that was so much fun. Because you got to really think everything through and be really intentional with the branding and the messaging.
Exactly. So can we stop for
Yeah.
that just a minute? So on this rebrand, it wasn't, so the business was already in place,
Yes.
the business concept,
Yes.
but the vision was changing for the
Completely.
business.
Yes. Completely. Yeah. Different everything. So that was a really fun project to work on, and then just being a part of that. So needless to say, after all that happened, some pretty major shifts. I would say it felt even more major than the rebrand were happening, and things I just didn't feel in alignment with new leadership. And no disrespect there, but it was kind of like I didn't know this new company, because with new leadership comes new ideas and new vision, and it was another shift from what I had helped create. And so it just, I was kind of looking on the horizon for what was next. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I knew something was gonna shift.
Well, I think what I hear you saying now, and not these words, is that for your beginning, and probably most business owners' beginnings or entrepreneurs, maybe or perhaps the first step is self-actualization or self-realization of knowing who you are and knowing your values and knowing whether or not you align with what you were doing previously. And maybe do you feel like that gives you courage or maybe just determination to step out?
Yeah, I think that it definitely was the sign that things were going to change. Yeah. So in the midst of this happening, so we'll just say, okay, so this was January, or it was the end of 2020 and stepping into the beginning of 2021.
So there's
And
lots of change business worldwide during that time period.
Of course,
And
yes.
then also just as a collective, the entire world was going through a lot emotionally.
Yes.
So it's almost like you literally were fed up.
Yeah. 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 100%. Um, and it's better to leave. I really do think that when you're making a transition, it's better to leave before you've burnt bridges and before you're burnt out. And
Right.
so that's always good because I felt burned by some of the things that were happening because whenever you've put so much heart, soul, creativity into something and someone is coming in and rewriting the
Gutting
script,
it.
yeah, it feels personal, but which it's not. It's business in that sense. But so January of 2021, I shared this on social media, but that was when I met Melissa Vanderright. And she is the owner of
Salt
Salt
Earth.
Earth Massage and Dry Salt Therapy. And so I kind of got introduced to her. She started coming in. She saw what I was doing and building there at that business, and it complemented her business really well. And so she starts talking to me about like, hey, I would love for us to work together. I would love for you to, help me. She didn't have it. She was brand new. She had just opened the November before, so 2 months before. And so she was needing to get her feet wet with marketing, what that would look like. Again, a normal business owner trying to do everything, and she was trying to see how she could get some help marketing. And at that time, it's not like I had, okay, yes, let's have a discovery conversation. Let's see what you need. Let's talk about. I didn't have any of that. So, I mean, this was just kind of that nudge that, like, maybe this is an area to explore. But even at that time, I did not want to go off on my own. And the reason is I did not want to promote myself. I think the hard thing about being in marketing is you get into it to market other people, but as a business owner, you have to market yourself and your business. And so that was the part that I was like, no, 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 no. I do not want to go down that road. And so again, I said this in a video that I recorded with Melissa a little bit of I don't remember when on social media recently. And even at that time, the first couple of months where we started talking, we started actually working together. I drug Melissa, and in the process, I got another couple of clients, drug them along through, and I joined up with a local production company who was doing social media, specifically social media marketing. That's really all they did was they were a production studio who also did um, social media marketing. And so I tried to make that fit. I was like,
Right.
this will be better because I don't have to feel like I'm marketing myself, promoting myself. Here's someone else who already has packages and concepts, and I can just kind
You
of
didn't have to
fit right
develop
in.
it.
I didn't have to develop any of it. I just could fit right in and go with it. And so I was like, okay, yes. So that's how I actually started doing all this. And so I worked with that company for a good I think probably 5 or so, no, not that many. But so basically from February, March, April, and then I kind of transitioned out in May. So really only 3, 4 months. And so because the hard thing, whenever you try to make something fit that doesn't fit, it's just not gonna work.
So that comes back to identity a little bit.
It was not fitting. It was not fitting. The problems that I had was first of all, this production company only offered social media marketing. So whenever I would start talking to the owner and saying, I really think that we should bring this piece in, and I really think that like, yeah, we can do
Because
social
marketing
media.
is more than, I mean, a lot of it is social
Yeah,
media,
it
especially.
can be. I
But
mean,
yes, but
it's
not all
it's
of
a
it.
piece of it. So I started trying to bring in all these other pieces, and I kind of got the no. I kind of got shut down on that because they're like, well, that's not really what we do.
Because that's not their brand.
Yeah.
They
And
knew who they
so
were too.
yeah, exactly. And so I was kind of it again in a spot where I was like, well, I don't feel like I can best serve these other clients and businesses by not giving them more of what could really help promote and grow their business. So, needless to say, on I mean, again, nobody ever loves to get left, but I think on good terms, I kind of transitioned out of that, and I roped Melissa into going into that.
Yeah.
And also there was another client that I
Gained.
gained. I pulled in to
Mm-hmm.
go through that route. And so they both, I told them like, this is what the plan is. You can make your choice. I don't want to get in the mix because obviously, that's a whole nother layer of like um what I did
Conflict of
conflict of
interest.
interest. There you go. So I just kind of left it at that. And Melissa, of course, she's like, "Well, you brought me into this. There, that's the only reason why I was here." So, I worked it all out with the other business owner and made that transition just with Melissa and then one other client that came for me, and it uh, evolved into different working relationship. So, anyways, that's when in May we made that transition. And what's funny is all this time, and this, I think this, for those business owners who are like launching, but they're still working another
Job.
quote unquote
Yeah.
9 to 5, this is to let you be seen. Like, I was still working at that original business this entire time.
Right.
My last day there was the very last day of May.
So
So
this is the business that you rebranded.
the,
You-
yeah, the
you were
original,
still
the
working
original,
there.
yeah, that I transitioned out of. And so I was still working there all the way up until the end of May, and made that transition because again, I wanted to give them a month. I gave them a month's notice so that we could fully transition that.
And you were in a leadership role too, so
Right.
it's not like you. Yeah.
Right. So, anywho, there was a lot of moving pieces there. I mean,
Totally.
working the full-time job, but also trying to build this and develop this. That's Georgia. Sorry, she's gonna bark in the background, but she that was just a lot of to develop this and build it while still doing your quote unquote 9 to 5. So if that's you, just know you're not alone. And here's another thing that I know, listen, I have soapboxes, whatever. I jump on and off. Any given time, I can jump on a soapbox and get off a soapbox. So with that being said, if you are in that place, do not act like you don't have a business. Do
Yep.
not act like, well, it's not my full-time thing. Who cares? That's still your business. Don't downplay it. Do not downplay it. Because you're building while you're still doing what you
Yeah,
got to do.
that's the hustle.
Never downplay it.
Right.
Okay, so that's my soapbox.
Okay.
I'll jump off of that. But anywho, that's really what it looked like. It's not always this thing of get an idea, develop it, launch it, and win. It's not
Yeah.
always like, so there's, it's
I do think that
fluid.
that's a kind of a cultural or a generational thing though too. Like especially as millennials, you're a younger millennial or on
I
the
am.
edge.
I am.
I'm on the older millennial edge, I suppose. But I would say with Gen Z, especially, it's not that they are alphas even. It's not that they don't have great ideas. They do have great ideas, but it's not like you have to work. It takes work to develop
It
it.
takes work.
I was actually watching TikTok. I think it was this morning. It may have been very late last night. Not for sure which. And it was actually a Gen Zer who said something about she was talking about seeing people who reached their career goals,
Mhm.
and she was talking about ambition in that. I couldn't tell you the creator's name, so I'm not going to be in help with that. But she said ambition wasn't what marked
Hmm.
people being successful,
Mhm.
because a lot of people have
Right.
ambition, but it was the ability to work
That's right.
on their ambition with
Yeah.
ambition.
Yeah, work with ambition. Yeah, because it definitely does not come. You can have the dream and it's not going to happen until you work the dream.
You got to put the
Work
work
the
in.
dream. Work the dream.
So, with that in mind, work the dream. What has surprised you over the last 5 years?
Surprised me. Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, I feel like there's a lot that has surprised me in different contexts. So sometimes it's well, I think okay, there's surprises in different areas. So I think it surprised me how, as far as locally, how small, once you get out there and start like, meeting other business owners, but it how small really the business community
Yeah.
is. But it's not small numerically, but people know people, and it travels. And so that's, I was involved pretty heavily in networking, especially right at the beginning. And yeah, it made it was a good kind of small, like, oh, okay, if I don't know someone, I know someone who knows someone type of thing. So but I did feel like in those sort of contexts, so networking, like, I mean, there's a lot of networking opportunities out there. I did mostly in-person networking. But it was surprising because especially for my industry, it was like the photographers, marketing, content people, production people, they kind of like found each other because we kind of don't fit into every context and every situation. Because to be honest with you, in a lot of networking situations, most people just want to quote unquote pick our brains instead of
Yeah. Pay
actually
for the service.
well, not just pay for the service, but actually like do what you do at a networking thing, get to know people so that you can refer them and you can refer people to them. And yeah, you can call upon them if you need something. But yeah, it was more picking of brains. And so I saw that a lot of times that could extend a lot of my time.
Mm.
And there is something to be said when you're first starting out of, letting people know because people don't know what you do. Like literally, I
Elevator
would
pitch.
yeah. Oh my word. Yeah. I would go into those type of situations and I could say I did marketing or social media marketing and people literally glazed over. They're like, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that was surprising. Um, one thing that has surprised me, I will say specific to what I do, because I'm not the only one doing this, is the number of people who bring in usually, I'll be honest, a lot of times businesses bring in a social media person that's all they're going to do. They're not going to bring in other marketing
And they probably pay
pieces.
them per the hour.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
but I'm saying more of like a contract type person, like what I would do. They bring them in, pay them, a nice little monthly whatever retainer, and they have no contract.
Mm.
They have no list of deliverables. That doesn't happen some of the times. It actually happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and people have really bad experiences with people, especially in social media marketing, because they hire someone, they sign
do
no
trends.
contract. They do trends, yeah.
And trends are not where the business is at.
So they'll hire them in. They will not sign a contract, and they will not get a list of deliverables. So whenever they don't even know what they're doing. I've talked to business owners who are like, yeah, I hired these people, but like I don't really know what I'm getting. I was like, well, what's your contract say? And they're like,
Right.
we don't have a contract. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Or a
what?
job description. That's
What?
It doesn't matter what your business is. It is astounding how many people do not have
It's
job
true.
descriptions.
It's true.
Like, how can you not know? That way you can, it's like a matrix of what you can deliver
Yes.
upon for both the worker and the employer.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
employee and employer.
that has been super surprising to me. And it also tells me why, again, mainly in the social media marketing, why it kind of gets a bad rap.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what do you think has been the most difficult part of the last 5 years?
Difficult.
Mhm. What has been the hardest moment?
I think the hardest moment, like, okay, while I just said that whole situation about having a contract
Yes.
and to protect the business owner,
Right.
that contract also protects me
Yes.
if
Mm.
the business owner abides by
the
it.
contract.
And so I think probably the hardest moment for me in the last 5 years was probably I think it was like the second year in is I did have a business owner. I this particular business, I wasn't just working with one business. They owned multiple businesses, and so I actually did marketing for 3
Mm-hmm.
of their businesses.
Right.
And there's more to that I don't want to share just because, it's
Yeah.
not about dishonoring anybody. But it was really tough because, to me, I'm like, well, I do everything I can to protect the business owner. They know what to expect from me.
Mm-hmm.
I know what to expect from them. We
Yeah.
have it all outlined in a contract. But when a business owner decides they're not going to abide by that contract, what are you going to do?
Yeah. You have to
So
sever the relationship.
yeah, so
this is
about
really interesting. Sorry to cut in here. I was thinking recently about Brene Brown's saying where she says, "Clear is kind."
yes, it is.
And the kindest thing that you can do for yourself, do for your employees, do for your employers is to be clear.
Mhm.
And this is another thing that I think people forget. Conflict is not while it is conflict, while it is uncomfortable, conflict is something to grow through. It does not have to be a severed relationship. You
Right.
can learn
Yeah.
to grow through conflict. And actually, that's the more healthy approach, is to learn that your gifts and my gifts are not the same. Your weaknesses and my weaknesses are not the same. Your strengths should cover my weakness and vice versa. That will produce conflict.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we are stronger and better together.
Yeah.
I think that can be so easily applied to
Yeah.
both the employer and the employee.
Yeah.
And I think that actually goes with what you were saying here.
Yeah.
Like, in some ways, your company, Signify Marketing, was employed by these people, or this other business or businesses, franchise. No, it wouldn't be franchise, but what would you call that?
No.
Enterprise. You were employed, or Signify was employed with them, but the clarity needed then begin to counteract your values. And so if those things have been talked through, then we wouldn't have to go back to the beginning here, which was the whole reason for leaving the corporate world, if you will, anyway.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you the stories. Because of some other things that I was working on with them, because they had, I was helping them with one of their businesses more than the other two. And so, random day, I can't remember what day of the week it was, but I got a phone call. It was, I'm not exaggerating, a 30-second phone call. No exaggeration in that. 30-second phone call. And it was just simply to the point, no room for conversation. Just, this is what's happening. We're not moving forward. We're cutting off services now for across the board. And this happened to be because part of what I was doing with them was a percentage. What do you say? A percentage of their sales. And it just so happened to be the actual highest grossing month of the year for one of their businesses that I was getting a percentage of.
Commission.
A commission from. Sorry, that's right. And I don't think that was a coincidence that it was the month that I was going to be getting the largest commission. Yeah. And that was it. 30 seconds. We're not continuing this. Hang up. I wasn't going to fight. I wasn't going to.
So clearly, you were doing
push
your
back,
job and
but
doing
I
it
just,
well. If the sales were lining up there.
Yeah. Well, and I reached out and I said, just to remind you, this is what our contract outlines. Send them the contract. This is what the contract outlines. I just, this is how much notice that we both agreed to. And the reply was, that's not going to hold up in court. Well, I was like, well, I wasn't planning to go to court. I just thought, good people are good people. So needless to say, everyone gets burned in business. Everyone has things like that. But I think it always goes in your favor to still be a good person who does good to others.
Act with integrity, regardless
100%.
of what. I think that is a hard lesson to learn.
But I learned it a year in, so there you go. That's early. I learned it early.
You learned the lesson once, but you have to live it every time.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that'll preach. You learn the lesson once, but you have to live it every single time.
Yeah.
You can't just live it once.
Yeah, but that was hard. That was hard just because I was kind of dumbfounded. I think it was kind of like a naive moment where I just thought that if someone told me and signed their name to something, they were going to follow through with that. Right. And it's just not true. And anyone in business knows that that's the case.
And now you do.
Yeah. Now I take it seriously.
But also I think it makes, I mean, I don't know whenever you've been burned that way. I do think it makes your determination to uphold your end of those contracts
100%.
even more.
Yeah,
because
I never would want to.
You know what it feels like to be left high and dry like that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what are some things that you tried and didn't work? We've all tried things that did not work, unfortunately.
I think the biggest one that I actually thought was going to be really helpful, that just never did work well, was social media coaching. I thought that was going to do really well because here's what I was thinking is like, there are business owners who like they just, it's not in their operating expenses to be able to bring someone on to handle their social media marketing. So here's what I can do. I can work with you, on a weekly basis, monthly basis, and give you the tools, guide you, even give you like exactly what to post, when
Mhm.
to, you know,
Yeah,
all of
a
these
calendar,
things.
content
And
calendar.
then all they have to do is plug and play. And so to me, I thought that was going to go really well. I did have a handful of people choose to try that out, but what I noticed was um, the success was 100% dependent on them.
Mm.
Like I could show up, I could give them monthly
Yeah,
calendar after monthly content calendar, but if they don't post the content,
it's
it does
pointless.
nothing.
Yeah.
And so there's some that, you know, did better than others, but I mean, there were some people that literally for several months when we'd get back on our next marketing call, they hadn't done anything we talked about.
Yeah.
And so then I kind of am in a spot where I'm like, I don't want you to I don't feel like I can help you
Mm.
because you're not following your
Well,
end of the deal.
and I mean, this is totally my personality, and I know it. But if somebody's not following their end of the deal and I'm doing work, I don't care if they're paying me for it. It annoys me.
Well, it doesn't I don't think it so much annoyed me. It's just I just was disappointed in the sense of I wanted them to see the impact of just being consistent,
Right.
of just, you know, doing it and not because so many business owners when it comes to social media marketing, most of the issue is they are overthinking it.
True.
So they're like, well, I have to get the perfect post and the perfect video or the perfect picture, and then I'll post it. And it's like, no, you got to be showing up.
Yeah.
So, you know, get your ideas all out. We worked on that good strategy in
Yes.
all of that, and then just post it.
Mm-hmm.
People care, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So, anyways, that was one thing that I thought would be super helpful. And yeah, I think some people, like I said, it didn't have a great response, but also um a lot of people didn't follow through on their end of the coaching.
So with that in mind, you're calling that a failure. How, and maybe it wasn't just that, you know, we don't want to call it failure.
I think people
Who,
just I think they had the wrong expectation. They thought if someone was telling them what to do, that they would actually do it. And they realized that that wasn't their real issue with why they weren't
it was probably they
doing
didn't have
marketing.
time to do the marketing. Yeah, to
Yeah.
do the social
Or
media marketing.
delegating it or
Right.
whatever it may have been.
Yeah. How has failure changed your decision making process?
Well, I don't do it again.
That's good.
I do not do the
That's
same thing
that's a good
again.
thing. Yes.
Um, Yeah, I think that you just get smarter. I mean, that's the
Mm,
deal is you just get smarter with experience,
mm,
really.
yeah.
And also as a business owner, I think of it from a business owner like different I work with business owners. So as a
Yes.
business owner, I try to use that perspective of that. And I do feel like I with what I do, I get a good inside look at what business owners are struggling with, their difficulties, their pain points. And so, yeah, thinking about it from that perspective helps. I think that helps too.
True. I agree with that. So, what do you believe about marketing now
Mhm.
that you didn't believe 5 years ago? I mean, if we're gonna just if we take the social media marketing, maybe we should take that out of it.
Mm. Mhm.
I actually this question is really pertinent
Mhm.
because if you consider, I've personally been thinking about this a lot with the needs during COVID, the needs immediately after
Mhm.
COVID,
Mhm.
and now the needs um, post COVID, I would
Mhm.
say. We're still in some ways, you're never going to be unaffected. This generation will never be unaffected by those memories
Mhm.
or the trauma. But how, and so maybe we should just remove social media from it because the algorithm changes every month, blah, 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 all those annoying things. But marketing in general, how do you think it is different now that you didn't believe
How
five
do I
years ago?
believe differently about it now
Right.
that I did this? Well, I think first of all, don't get too comfortable.
Mm.
In it's in the sense of it is evolving with culture evolving with um technologies and advancing. Don't get too comfortable in the sense that I talk to people who what they have been doing for the last 5 years is they're tried and true, and they're like, well, this is what I always do, and it always works. Well, but for like I'll just use this example. This is not targeting anyone. This is just a off the top of my head example. You know, Google reviews. That is the tried and true. That's what I do. If I increase my Google reviews, it's always going to make an impact. Okay, but you're not seeing other growth that can happen if you tied in another marketing
Mm.
tactic. besides just Google
Well, and
reviews.
then also I do wonder how the Google AI affects
Well, that's
the
what I'm saying
reviews.
too. Like Google reviews, not that they're not, they're important because you could. Another thing about Google reviews, this is just a little free piece of advice. That's not just a one win. That's not just one win. That's multiple wins because you can feature it on your website. You can incorporate it into your social media posting. You know,
But
it's
then
got
somebody has to
layers.
take
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
Google
But it's
review
got
and apply it all
layers
those different
to the
places.
benefit
Yeah,
of it. It's
right.
got layers to the benefit of it. But I think that yes, you can have some tried and true marketing pieces that work for your business, but don't think that that's the end all because though even those things will change and how people interact with them will change. I think that the one thing that I you know it in the back of your mind, but it's even more true to me today than it was 5 years ago is just the piece of marketing that is 100% knowing the psychology of your
Mm,
customer,
right. The
knowing what
demographics.
what
Yeah.
speaks to them, what
Yeah.
relates to them.
And that changes
Yeah, it
because
can.
just as you are changing, they are changing
Right,
also.
right.
It's the story. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
big. One of my main things I feel like has always been about the story, the narrative that our life writes and that our brand writes, that our business writes. It's massively
Hmm.
important.
Hmm.
And then that story changes because we are changing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that that is a piece that, again, in the back of my mind, I knew like getting into your customer's brain
Yes.
mattered, but like now it's amplified. I'm like, you've got to, speak to them, hit them between the eyes with your messaging and with your content and with everything. Yeah.
What matters more than people realize?
What matters more than people realize? This is going to sound like just like a repeat, because I say it all of the time. Consistency. Consistency. Oh man, I there's things is like people show up better when they're doing better or whenever they have more capacity to focus
Yeah.
on marketing, and then you might see it die out. No, just show up consistently.
Yeah.
Just show, even if it means you go slower so that you can be consistent. That
Oh, you know what
that.
I was thinking about actually as you were saying that, and I've thought about it a lot recently. Uh, an object in motion, it's the Newton law. An
Mhm.
object in
Mhm.
motion tends to stay in motion.
Yeah.
If you can get
100%.
motion,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
build momentum. But if you're
Yes.
just sitting
Mm.
still, you're not going to get
Listen,
anywhere.
momentum is something that's sometimes hard to grasp and figure out how to get, but once you get it,
Yeah,
whoo, you've got to run with it because it won't
exactly.
last for forever.
What in the past 5 years has been the most rewarding part of building this
Mm.
business and building Signify Marketing?
Um, the most rewarding part, I think, honestly, I get fired up when I get to do something that I creatively enjoy.
Mhm.
Whenever I like it when business owners allow me to be creative.
Yeah.
Whether that be with a campaign, with a video idea. So those are things that get me fired up is whenever I'm really allowed to just be the creative director for something because a lot of times you're fitting within guidelines
Yeah.
of a brand
Yeah.
or something like that, but whenever it works and
Mhm.
you are allowed to really kind of press the limits
Yeah.
with that and be creative, but also I don't like being creative when it doesn't have a purpose. Like creativity with a stupid video. I'm sorry, nobody needs more goofy videos, but like creativity that pushes the limits,
Mhm.
that means something. I
I
enjoy
think
that.
one of the most fun videos that you have done was for a business. It was a health and wellness business, but it was for Christmas.
Mm.
And Santa Claus came to
Mhm.
visit.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was just,
Yeah,
oh,
that
I
was
loved,
fun. That was
yeah,
fun. Listen, that was sometimes you think of that video shoot was a little complicated, but it was good. I loved the final product. That was good. I loved that.
right. Quality product too. What moments make the hard part of this business worth it?
I think just being successful.
Being
Like having
successful.
and success for me a
So
lot of times
there
looks
you go.
like success for that business.
So when the business is
Yeah. Yeah,
successful,
yeah, yeah.
what are you
Yeah.
most proud of?
I'm most proud. Oh goodness. What am I most proud of?
While I'm not you and I'm not a business owner, I'm not the business owner. Um, I think one of the things that I'm most proud, I might cry thinking about this. Sorry. I get emotional
Oh
very
great.
easily.
Oh great.
But you were doing some pro bono work for the downtown river district of Bixby, which you do, but people probably don't know that. They might not need to know that, but here I am saying it. And I remember there was it was I can't remember if it was last year. I think no, it wasn't last year. I think it was the year before, but it was the downtown river district is the Halloween theme party, and you were talking about using your creativity.
Uh-huh.
But the Halloween themed party, the whole thing, it's a community event. With lots of different people are involved, but one of the things that happens every time, or has happened previously every time, is that there's a story, so the theme, and in the past you've done Star Wars, you've done Minions, Zootopia, but this particular one was Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
And the story you wrote was about that there are no lost boys, that every
Yeah, we
lost
were
boy
doing
needs a home.
initiative with local.
Yes,
Um,
adoption
yeah,
agency.
yeah,
And so that was like the what was benefiting from.
yeah. They got up and shared about how you can, be there and support foster families in the
Yes,
community and all of that, all the difficulties that they face. Yeah,
but anyway, I think it was raining
it
that
was
year.
raining. It was drizzly.
What the attendance was lousy the year previous. I think it's not just Signify, but that event had over 10,000 people. But this year it was probably closer to 2,000. So it was a little bit discouraging, but the weather was horrible. It was raining. I remember leaving that night drenched, but also remember leaving just so absolutely moved by the story, the
Right.
retelling using Peter Pan
The
and the
Lost
Lost
Boys.
Boys
Yeah,
to get the message out
yeah,
about supporting foster care,
yeah,
supporting adoption. It was beautiful. And
yeah.
so while the success wasn't necessarily measured in the numbers of 10,000 people, or I think we had 12, 13,000 this past year, whatever it was measured in impact.
Yeah, impact looks different in
It looks
different
different for
contexts.
different
Yeah.
contexts. Yeah.
It's hard for me to pinpoint something that I'm most proud of just because I'm the type of person is once something's done, I'm on to the next thing and I don't
Mhm.
really process through it. And pretty much I don't put something out there if I'm not proud of it. So I just yeah, it's hard for me to pinpoint something I'm most proud of.
Well,
Um
maybe that personality then, or
I
maybe
know.
that attribute of you don't put something out there if you're not proud of it.
That's true. That's true.
So 5 years behind us.
Yep.
We don't know how many years we have ahead of us, but we
Right.
know that we have this moment,
We have
this
this year.
minute
We have right now.
we have right now. What excites you about the future?
Um, excites me about the future. I think continuing to write, create compelling stories, messaging. I think having a greater impact through just helping people win. I
Mm,
like helping people win and
yeah,
succeed. And it looks different for different people, but
yeah.
yeah, that's what I love to do.
How? I mean, you are a visionary person.
Mhm.
I, I mean, I can attest to that. I am around you literally every day, even days that you don't want me around you,
And vice versa.
and vice versa. You're a visionary person. So, what is your vision, or do you have a vision
Mm.
for the future of Signify Marketing?
Yeah. I'm always pretty open-minded, open-handed with everything because what I have learned, if anything, is that things can change, things can shift. You never know what opportunities are going to come. You never know,
Yeah.
you know?
One
Um,
day, I mean, literally one day can change everything.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, different opportunities to come, but I think I think that I really, as far as the horizon, I would love to have a team.
Mm.
I would love to step into more, and I even now, like kind of in my quote unquote title, which it's just something you got to have. It doesn't really matter. You do everything when you were the business owner.
That's true.
You do everything, but you got to have a title. But I kind of have coined it as owner and creative director because I really that's the piece that I feel like I'm skilled in a lot of areas, but I really love the creative director um hat, being able to really cast the vision, like you said. And because sometimes I just like to, be that ideals person. And then you have to it takes a lot of time to bring those ideas to
Yeah.
reality. So I would love to, again, in an open-handed way, if it doesn't happen this way, whatever. But I would love to have more of a team situation where I'm able to step more into the creative director role and have other skilled people be able to deliver on that direction and deliver on that creativity. Um, I would love to do that if that happened.
And that's what we're building towards now.
Yeah. And I think also stepping into more of the producing type of side. I'm a big experience person. Even like events that I produce, I want them to create an experience.
Mhm.
I'm huge on that.
Mhm.
And so I think being able to do even more of that, I love doing that. It it re-energizes me to be able to create experiences and be mindful of like the whole thing, like on an event. What is the client or customer or person, attenders
Yeah.
experience throughout this whole thing? And like, just, yeah, I love all of
Well,
that.
and just with where we are with technology,
Yeah.
I think with the advancement of AI, that's even going to become, I mean, from the studies, that's
Yeah.
going to become even bigger because like look, I'm pretty fairly involved in the theater world, whether it's Broadway or opera or whatever. I'm pretty involved in it. And what we are seeing as a whole is people are largely going to live performances more. A
Yep.
live performance cannot be manufactured.
That's right.
And, with that brings challenges.
Yeah.
Because whenever you're doing anything live, there's always more chance for something to go wrong. The
Yep.
electricity could go out, the camera could go off, the microphones could go out.
Granted, yes, yes.
There's just no
Yeah.
way of knowing. Live experiences are where it is at. And we even see this. We even see Disney and Netflix just
Yeah.
to some to think they're already going more into this. Even in Branson, Oklahoma. Wait,
What?
Branson, Missouri. Even in Branson, Missouri, if y'all don't know, Signify Marketing is based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is just about 3 hours from Branson, Missouri. And a lot of people don't realize that Branson, Missouri, if this podcast makes it all the way to the east to the west coast, Branson, Missouri is kind of like the Gatlinburg of this area, or something like that. There's lots of different shows that happen, and shopping and experiences.
Yeah.
Disney actually has opened an interactive virtual
Yeah. 3D type.
3D experience
Yeah.
in Branson, Missouri. So that's how big this is coming. Netflix, we know that they are bringing one to Dallas, and I think somewhere in Philadelphia and a few other places, they're bringing interactive
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot to be said for that.
Super cool. Super cool.
I think it's cool. Well, Dalayna, that pretty much wraps up this.
Wraps it up.
Wraps
Our
up
bonus
this special
anniversary.
bonus anniversary. Oh my goodness, this dog. She's like a humanoid child. Anyway, into the back office. And over the last 5 years, one thing has become clear. No one truly no one has it figured out.
Nobody.
And we're all working for that.
Yes.
There's not a business you admire. There's not a leader that you respect. There's not people that look confident online that have figured out. None of us do.
That's right.
But the ones that are showing up with consistency,
Consistent, like, yes.
keep learning and keep building intentionally, those are the ones who are growing.
That's right.
And
Can't keep us down.
and if this is a conversation that resonates with you, share it with another business owner, and so that we can all build together.
Yes.
There is room at the table for everybody. Single person. We are not in we are not in competition with each other. We are in
Mm-mm.
competition with ourselves. So thank you for being a part of the last 5 years of Signify Marketing. And guess what? We're just getting started.
Yeah.
So now maybe you know, maybe you don't. Dalayna is an avid fan of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and of Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And this started because she is a podcast, a true crime podcast queen. It started through listening to the podcast Queen of the Con. And then she comes in and it's like, Danette, we're going to start watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And at every reunion, after they've, been at each other's throats for 3 or 4 episodes, Andy always has a toast. Now, we don't drink. So we're going to participate by celebrating not with a drink, but with sugar. And so Delaney's favorite dessert is actually anything lemon. And so I stopped by a small business here in in this town where we are today and picked her up a lemon pavlova. I think that's
What's
how you
that?
say it.
Where'd you get this from?
The pastisserie.
We can't even shout them out because you can't pronounce the name.
It's French. Anyway,
oh my word.
And so spoon or fork, and then I got a piece of cake.
Smelling
So it's lemon something or another, and there's
Okay.
a kiwi on it. But anyway, so
I feel like you need the fork and I need
Okay.
the spoon.
Okay, so we took what Andy always they always do is they always toast for the lessons that.
We will tag the small business that
Yes.
or the local business
local.
that this is.
So they toast the past and the lessons they learn, and then they celebrate the lessons still to be learned. So here we go. We're toasting the past, the lessons we've learned over the last 5 years.
I figured this out.
Yeah, I think it's meringue, I think, with lemon. I don't know. If you don't like it, there's a lemon bar, but I thought
No,
this
it'll
was
be
prettier.
great because it's
I
a great
thought this
business.
was prettier. Yeah. We're toasting the past and celebrating the future.
Okay.
We're not celebrating it.
It smells good. Well,
Anyway,
that's it.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time
On the back office.